Welcome back to the Networking Spark. Today we're going to be interviewing an international pianist who has developed her own method of teaching that is totally unique to her. Tatiana Kott, originally from Belarus, is a creative entrepreneur as well as a pianist. So let's dive deep into what makes her tick. Hi Tatiana, welcome to the Networking Spark podcast. It's amazing to have you here and I really appreciate the journey you've taken today to come. May I ask you what makes you an entrepreneur?
Hi Jess, thank you for welcoming me here and thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and talking to you. So I think generally speaking, being an entrepreneur is for someone who is very creative in whatever field they're in. And very soon in my career, I realized that I cannot really be limited by constraints of institution or some sort of, established view of what a musician should be. So I decided I will embark on this journey of creating my own world. And being a musician, being a classically trained concert pianist, I very soon ventured into education. And it's just so many things that I wanted to do, so many projects that I wanted to work on. And I realized the only way of doing this is just working for yourself. So that's what I did.
Brilliant, because I totally agree with you. All these rules and regulations that come with being employed are not for an entrepreneur, and you definitely do need a lot of creativity, which you've clearly got being a musician. Would you say you could teach anybody how to play the piano?
Yes, absolutely anyone, no matter what age, level, background they are. And in fact, I pride myself on being able to teach very quickly and easily. Over the years, I've developed my own method, which brings out a lot of logic in music, something that is not really talked about in music world. So most traditional teachers tend to go by showing rhymes or fingering numbers when it comes to learning the notes, and it does not really engage your brain very much. And I always say to my students that when you play the piano, it's only 5% of moving the fingers, 95% is the mental workout. So it's an incredible workout for the brain. And when you address the brain in the first instance, then the process is much easier, much quicker. It just all makes sense.
So it's potentially good for preventing Alzheimer's, for keeping your brain active as you get older. What's your youngest and your oldest client? How old are they?
I will just firstly confirm that it's absolutely true that it prevents all of those diseases. There's actually numerous research done on this topic. And because it forms like new neurons, cognitive processes are improving, memory is improving, not to mention the obvious like stress relief. And, nowadays we're just so pressured with commitments, time, workload, that this for many people is a wonderful escape where they can just express their emotions and just feel free. So my oldest ever pupil was 75. And actually this is the point that people over 55, I would say, always look for piano lessons knowing the benefits already. So they have done their research. Maybe they don't even enjoy music that much, but they just want that stimulation for the brain because they know it can, help them with memory and keeping the brain alive and active for as long as possible. My youngest pupil ever was probably 3.5, and this was a case of a very pushy mother wanting to start as soon as possible, which at times can work, but I would say 3 is probably a bit too young for a child. For the same reason, because it involves a lot of thinking, a lot of understanding, and it's very hard to explain certain things to a child when they're so young.
You don't just teach people in one country, do you?
No. So currently I have students in Hong Kong, China, Japan, India, US, and predominantly still UK, because I'm quite well known here and I've worked in various institutions. So yes, anywhere in the world.
That's incredible. And in Dubai as well.
Yes, thank you. In fact, this is the market that I'm trying to grow most actively, actually. There's a lot of interest. Probably because traditionally culture has not been something that was looked at in the Arab Emirates. But now I can see a lot of forces, like there are orchestras appearing, museums appearing. So clearly that cultural scene is beginning to be a bit more alive.
Yeah, because it's still very new, isn't it? So it's good for them to begin to build this. So are you able to talk about your clients? Probably not. If I was to ask you, who's your most amazing client and who is your strangest client?
I can definitely describe in general terms without mentioning names.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So the most amazing client, I would put it in two categories. So the first category will be probably someone who is really determined to achieve quite a lot. So this will be someone who works really hard and wants to go for competitions and this is actually a child, I would say. So this is someone who is 8 or possibly 9 right now. She wishes to be a composer. She practices a lot. She enjoys working and performing on stage. But there's also a second type of client where they just derive enormous enjoyment, benefit, pleasure from playing the piano, not necessarily wanting to achieve a lot, but you can feel that passion for music and that passion for playing and musicality that comes through. And that is also quite amazing. So it's not always the same spectrum, but when I see that spark, it always resonates with me. The weirdest, it will be probably hard to mention, because I think as a true teacher, you always try and turn the situation around. So even if something was turning out to be a bit weird, you always try and find a different approach, maybe, make it slightly better for them of an experience and better for myself as well.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. So talking about Spark, I would love to ask you about networking. Mm-hmm. What's your experience of networking? What benefits have you got from it? What's your views on it in general for an entrepreneur?
Well, I think networking is extremely important. As you probably know, I always make an effort to drive, even if it's 2-3 hours for any networking event, because I know the benefit that I will gain and hopefully others will gain as well. I have been part of various networking events in the past and even at present, with variable degree of success. Sometimes it can be a bit dry, sometimes it can be very business focused. And I think because personally I know where I'm going, I don't really need any guidance or influence in that regard. But I always see networking events as incredible opportunities to just mingle, first of all, with the like-minded people, because being an entrepreneur can be a very lonely place, especially if you work from home or in your office, or you are a solopreneur, like in my case. I am just working for myself, just me, myself, and I. So getting to talk to people and bounce off ideas and just see the outlook to life, business, relationships. And at times, it can be surprising that I found inspiration in some most unpredictable conversations that were not related to music at all. Or I found solutions for my business, or some even technical processes that I was stuck in, just really not even planning having those conversations, just something that developed very randomly. So I always like to see it as like cross-pollination. So we're like bees on different flowers, and that process is a very important process, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, I like that visual.
Yeah.
And your network is your net worth.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah. Let's dive a bit deeper. Let's talk about intuition. What are your thoughts on intuition, and would you say you are intuitive?
Yes, I am intuitive. My views on intuitions are that it's an important ingredient. When you are in business, I think in fact, most of decisions right now are based on my intuition. Because I think with your brain, it's very hard to sometimes make decisions. Everything is about people. You work with people, you collaborate with people, you take advice from people, you take services from people, and you do not know people by just deciding on their credentials, even on the piece of paper, deciding, okay, this is someone I should go with. I have done that in the past, and it cost me dearly. So I try to always go deep down within me and feel, is there that connection? Can I feel the genuineness? Is it something that I feel comfortable in? And then I will say yes very quickly to something that maybe for some will feel like, oh, this is a bit rushed, or you didn't have time to think it through. But that's because I know I have the answer from my intuition already, and I trust it 100%.
I was going to ask, you trust your intuition, yes.
And I think it's very important in business. And I think if you practice, because it's a skill, it's like a muscle that can be trained. I believe so, because I spent some time really honing this kind of intuitive, skills, and I could see how it has developed with time.
So how do you practice being intuitive?
You just test it. You literally test it on small things, with parking spaces, with, I don't know, predicting numbers sometimes.
Is that not manifesting over being
well,
intuitive?
I think it definitely interlinks, but manifesting is more, in my view, about creating big pictures, or actually also just intuitively knowing what your goal is. What do you aspire to achieve? That becomes your then manifestation goal. So you don't derive your goals randomly either. I think they are very much part of your intuition process. But just maybe sensing some situations. Can you predict? Sometimes you may think of a person and they will ring you, or you may feel like, okay, today this situation is going to resolve, and it does. And it just gives you that boost and courage that, okay, this thing really works.
Yeah.
So that's how. And it's definitely practicable, and it's definitely achievable, and it can be an incredible tool.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, do you want to create the opportunity to step away from your business so you can work on it rather than in it? Do you need some rest and restoring time so that you can take some time to look after your body, your health and your mind, and come back stronger and better and full of creative ideas? I'd love to invite you to come on a retreat with me where we have a regular yoga practice. We have some beautiful conversations, meditations, massage, all sorts of wellness practices to really create the best version of you and for you to rest and restore and come back stronger. So if you'd like to learn more, then reach out to me, send me a DM, or have a look at my website, yogitribe.com. That's yogitribe.com, and look at the retreats on there. Amazing. That's happened to me quite a lot lately, actually. So it's really interesting to hear. But it works both ways. You might be thinking about somebody you don't want to hear from, and then all of a sudden, because you're thinking about them, they get in touch, and it's like, oh no, stop thinking about it. So as you say, it's something you can really practice and hone those skills. So yeah, interesting. When did you first realise that you could tap into intuition?
Well, I started looking into this whole manifestation world, intuition, setting goals, and kind of really going along with your passion is when I decided that I'm going to go solo, that I'm going to create my own business, my own world. I'm going to just do projects that I love. It all kind of come together. So this was about maybe 3 years ago that I started this journey, but it's been a progressive process, and I'm still on that journey, and hopefully the way is only up.
And you're doing super well, super well.
Thank
I'm
you.
in awe. What made you want to become a piano teacher? Tell us about your journey there.
I've always known that I will be a pianist. I do not. It's a very funny story. I do not come from a musical family, but as a child, apparently, that's what I'm told by my parents, I always ever played with a wooden piano, and that what gave my parents a clue that, or maybe they should take me to a music school. And ever since I started playing, and I went to music school, never had any other idea other than I want to become a pianist. It definitely shifted and kind of changed over time. So initially I wanted to be a performer. So I went to take part in many international competitions. Some of them I won. I studied in different countries as well. I went up to like postgrad degree, then gave lots of recitals, concerts with, played concertos with orchestra, solo recitals, again, all over the world pretty much. And then kind of gradually shifted into finding joy in teaching others. And I very soon realized I'm very good at it as well, which was helpful. Then I had many years in being part of private educational sector in the UK. So that gave me a lot of variety of students and to really test some of those techniques that I'm now selling as part of my packages. So I have various courses for self-study, and I still teach one-to-one online predominantly.
And you've developed your own method, haven't you?
Yes. So taking from zero to playing pieces hands together pretty well in only something like 10 lessons. So this is what gives you full knowledge of the basics of piano. The most important for me is that I give you the tools so you understand it. I don't just teach you songs, but I give you that background knowledge as well. I always say to my students, if you come to me, I recite a beautiful poem, and I'm in awe, but then I give you a very simple book to read, and I realize you cannot read a word. Well, I'm no longer impressed. So I know there are many people out there who maybe want to learn off YouTube or some free resources where they think, okay, if I can just position my hands or press the right keys, I'll create that beautiful melody. And it's true, but then you can't read notes. So actually it's a very limiting probably way. So I've always known that my purpose is to give that knowledge to people so that they can use it. They can then learn any song they like. They will not be limited.
Yeah, so you can teach anyone how to play in 10 lessons and how to learn to read
the notes
music as well.
Yes.
Which means that then they can carry on and,
exactly.
you know, amazing. And you're also developing something for autistic children as well, is that right?
Yes. So this came as well as a natural occurrence. It's just part of my list of students, really. When I was still part of various schools, I had quite a few children with autism, and I could see the passion from the parents. So they've obviously done a lot of research and known how music benefits their brain development, and they wanted their children to do really, really well, but it wasn't really moving forward as fast as maybe they envisaged. And obviously knowing that the autistic spectrum is quite a wide spectrum, so that some children can just be mildly affected and their brain cognitive processes are still very much intact, and it's very easy to teach them. And some, particularly one boy I taught in the past, he was almost like a musical genius. He could play anything from just listening to the piece of music, but he could not comprehend the reading. But that was, in a way, also his limitation that we wanted to break. There's no two ways about it. It's very beneficial for them. Piano is, in fact, the only instrument that has two lines that are written, notes are written in two different clefs. So for our brain, it's almost like reading two different languages at the same time. It's incredibly stimulating, especially for a child who is still developing. It's helpful in school. It's helping with focus, with attention, with many, many things. So yes, it took me, I would say, over a year to find some of those ways that I could sense that it's working. So those are the approaches that I might take to maybe then produce a course that can help also on a larger scale to many, many people. So this is something that I'm currently putting together, and hopefully it will be available in a few months' time.
Amazing.
But at least I've gathered all the research, having live lessons with those students. And yes, we all achieved amazing results.
Yeah,
and
brilliant. And you can teach people wherever they are in the world now, which is
Yes.
amazing. You don't have to be in person.
No.
So when I remember I was learning classical music when I was young, and it was all in person. There was none, obviously there was no Zoom then.
Yes.
But I remember, because I learned from a young age, just standing there and playing and reading the music and not having, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Because I was playing the violin, my fingers are moving, the bow's moving. I'm reading all of this music, but I wasn't thinking, is that a C? Is that a D minor? It was just flowing. And I remember thinking, wow, this is amazing.
Yes, and that's the point where I'm trying to get all my students to, because what you were doing is what I call directional reading. So you need my system only at the beginning, and that's why I say in 10 lessons you will know it. The rest you will progress and learn by reading directionally. So you're just looking, is the melody going up or down, are 2 notes skipping, or which direction? And with time, you just recognize all the notes as you recognize the alphabet, and you can read books without really going into details of, this is letter A or B or C.
Yeah.
But yes, talking of modern technologies is quite amazing. I think the biggest test that I have conducted on this is being able to play in synchrony with my student online and being synchronized 100%. Or sometimes I put the metronome, which ticks the beats for them, and they play, and again, it's all 100% synchronized. So there's absolutely no limitation, no restraint. And if you think about modern day life, and nobody has the time to waste in traffic, most of my lessons are 30 minutes. So if somebody was to commute and being, in traffic for 30 minutes or 40 minutes, commuting to me for a 30-minute lesson and then driving back the same journey, it just isn't very efficient. So in fact, even the students that I have who live close by, they're all online, just because
Fantastic.
You don't lose anything. It's just as efficient in terms of success or learning, and there are no other things that impede, like traffic.
Yeah, and
time wasting.
This help you with your work-life balance, so it's called, because I know you're also a mum.
Yeah.
And I know you're also a single mum, which is a hard job to be able to work at the same time as caring for 2 children. So how do you manage all of that?
Well, my teaching time does not take that much time during the day, and I do balance it because I work from home. There's a lot of time where I'm free, where my children need picking up or dropping in school or for some other activities. So that is another benefit of actually owning a business and creating your own world, as I always say, is because you can structure it around you, around your commitments, and yes, you can balance it however you want. So I actually have time for everything. I have time for my own fitness, I have time for my children, I have time for travel, for new projects, for collaborations, for recording my pieces, for working on new courses, and for teaching online.
So you are doing what a lot of people really aspire to, because many people who are starting their own businesses or even running, multiple businesses really struggle with that balance, and they just get stressed out and too much. So essentially, you've got to a place where it's everything is working for you. Is there do you have any aspirations, or, if I was to ask you, where would you like to be in 5 or 10 years? What would you say?
Well, I definitely want to grow my students' portfolio. So I want my system to be well known all over the world. I have a long-term plan of arranging and organizing concerts in different countries. Right now, I do organize concerts twice a year for my students, which is an amazing opportunity to come together while studying online twice a year, to perform on stage. I also always play. There's a very nice social kind of vibe, and it's amazing. And if I can recreate this in different parts of the world, like Dubai, Hong Kong, this is what I'm aiming at. Working on more projects, so developing further courses. How else can I be helpful? Maybe developing more courses for advanced pianist, harmony courses or theory courses. There are lots of ideas that I have, and then maybe performing as well a little bit more than I do right now. So
where's the most amazing place that you've performed, being a concert pianist?
I can't think of a favorite.
Okay.
It's more the context, I would say. So something that comes in mind is a concert that I gave in the University of Manchester, for instance, where there were just lots of students, and later on, just to hear that it was really inspiring for them to hear, you know, certain pieces. I played with an orchestra in Israel. That was amazing, in the middle of Negev desert. Yeah, so lots of different stories there. But I definitely, with time, I want to revive that part of me, a performer part of me.
Join a dynamic community of driven entrepreneurs, professionals, and industry leaders who are passionate about growth, and like-minded individuals who inspire, support, and empower you to reach new heights. Expand your network and connect with a diverse range of professionals across various industries. Increase your visibility and showcase your expertise and services in a relaxed atmosphere. Learn from industry experts, attend workshops, and stay ahead of the thread. Build genuine connections that can lead to new clients, partnerships, and collaborations. Boost your confidence. Surround yourself with a supportive community that believes in your success. So don't miss out on this opportunity to ignite your business growth. Join Spark Business Networking to unlock endless possibilities for your entrepreneurial journey. Spark Business Networking, where connections ignite success. And it must be quite a rewarding job when you get that feedback from your students and
yes.
feedback from an audience.
I think what you don't realize at times is, and that's why I wouldn't want to put what I do as a business or to classify as such, because sometimes we do not realize, we think it's just a business that we do, but actually it's so life transforming for some people. You just don't know until they come and tell you, oh, this has always been my passion and now I can do this. Or you've enabled me to, I don't know, achieve this and that and that. And you realize that, wow, you have actually contributed to something that is really precious in someone else's life. And that's, I think, the most important success and goal, I don't know, achievement.
And fulfilling your purpose.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you found your purpose at a very, very young age, which is amazing. What would you say to someone that's still looking for their purpose? They might feel a bit lost and they're like, well, I don't know what my purpose is.
I think, and that's something that I read in one of the books, so I will not give myself a credit for these words, but somewhere I read that as a child, or if you're an adult searching for this purpose, because when you're a child it's possibly easier, you can always look back and find things that are very easy for you to do. What is it that is very easy to do? Is it talking to people? Is it, I don't know, organizing things? Is it that you draw amazingly well and you just go back to it every time in leisure? Something that maybe you don't even pay attention to, but that comes with ease. You derive pleasure from it, and that is usually a good indication. And then if you just work on this, and I think, remembering from my background, I think at times educational system just gives it to us in a slightly different form. They say, well, work on things that you're not good at. And I think with time, I realized that it's the other way around.
Yeah.
You just have to work on things that you're good at, because that's something that is clearly there as an indicator that this is something that you can grow into, I don't know, business, career, passion in life. And yes, so those are the clues.
True, isn't it? And this is like a bit of an issue often for children at school.
Yes.
Who have to fit into a box, and rather than encouraging them to really go for what they absolutely love and to go for that, they don't get the chance to do that until they're out of school, out of the system, and then maybe they become an entrepreneur, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like that freedom it's almost taken away from children, isn't it?
Yes, and many people then discover after they've worked somewhere where they were completely not suitable, not something that they enjoy for many years, and then they take that, direction completely, like 360 degrees backwards, and just then try and find what is it that actually sparks that passion in me.
Yeah. So obviously your life is all about the piano. Outside of that, what are the things that keep you going, your tips for everyday life to keep yourself healthy, to keep yourself in good condition? I know you're into personal development. For anyone listening, what would you say are some golden nuggets of, habits, healthy habits that keep you going?
I think for me personally, and that applies to every area of my life, I never want to stop growing, improving or developing. Whatever level I am at right now, I would always try and find, okay, what else can I do? Or maybe there's something I don't know. Let's say nutrition. Have I yet found that optimum solution for myself in terms of diet? Because we're all so different. I don't believe in kind of box standard, advice. Eat this, don't eat this, or drink this, don't drink this. You just have to listen to your own self, your own body, your own heart, really. And that goes back to, I think, what we talked about initially, about intuition, about inner self and really knowing yourself. So that's one thing that I tend to do. I definitely always like to be stimulated and motivated by speakers, authors, so I do tend to read a lot, random books really. I might have 3 or 4 in parallel. And then more recently, I'm realizing that I do need to look after my body as well. So I'm dedicating more time now to, do some exercises and go for walks and be more in nature.
And it helps your brain as well, doesn't it? Looking
Absolutely.
after your physical health, yeah. May I ask you, what's the hardest thing you've ever been through? And the reason I ask this is I believe that us as human beings are forged in the fire, and often the most difficult experiences, although they're horrendous at the time, can really help us grow. So I'm going to ask to dive deep there. If you want to share, you can share as much as you like or as little as you like.
So this is a very easy answer. Easy and hard at the same time. Easy because I definitely know what it is, and hard because obviously it was a very difficult experience for me, and it was my divorce. Or should I say rather the marriage itself. The divorce was more of a liberating journey, but it was something that maybe sparked that desire within me to actually look deep and to get to know myself again, because I lost myself. I realized I lost myself. I no longer knew who I was, what I wanted in life. I realized that maybe I was living someone else's dreams.
Was that because you were trying to fit into the box of the... Yeah.
Yes, because in my view, I thought this is the togetherness, and I didn't realize that if someone truly, really loves you, they will allow you to be yourself. And the togetherness is then becomes like, I am unique, I'm my own self, and you are unique, you're your own self. But that wasn't the case. So it took me on a journey, but I'm so grateful for that journey. I don't think I would be sitting here. I don't think I will be the same person as I am right now if I've not gone through that. those 12 years.
What would that old self look like if you stayed put?
Well, the ending would have been very bad. I'm pretty sure of that. And it just would be a wasted life, I think. Life not lived according to my design, my purpose.
And would you say you're much, much happier now?
I'm not just happier, I am happy. I am whole, I am fulfilled 100%.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really good note to end on, because that's just wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm happy, I'm whole, I'm fulfilled. Congratulations, Tatiana. I think you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good, that was great. You come across really, really well. Cheers.
Thank you.
I'm excited to let you know that we are now shifting to weekly episodes, and next week I interview an amazing soul called Summer Kang, who has her own podcast called Inner Wealth. She records bite-sized episodes on self-improvement and spirituality, and I think that Summer is an old soul on young shoulders and has a wealth of knowledge. She is truly inspirational. Her Inner Wealth podcast is currently at number 1 on Apple Podcasts in the self-improvement category, and she has well over 15,000 subscribers and growing in more than 130 countries. Wow! Don't miss the next episode. Thanks for listening, and have a wonderful day and create some sparks in the world. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe.